Today we look at a potential 5-year journey for the most requested superstar in this series, and that is Jimmy Uso. We just hit the goal of 6,000 subscribers, so if you do enjoy this video then please super kick that like button as we start the journey towards reaching 7,000. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Although he is not scheduled to compete at Wrestlemania 41, Jimmy does make a return appearance alongside his brother Jay as he accompanies him to his World Heavyweight Championship match against the Ring General Gunther. Jay comes in as the polarising challenger, with some of the fans chanting yeet and some booing him out of the building. Jay gives Gunther a great fight, but Gunther has no plans of being defeated twice in a row at Wrestlemania. Unfortunately for Jay, Gunther defeats him on the grandest stage as the Ring General retains his World Heavyweight Championship. WrestleMania is confirmed as no yeet, just simply defeat for Jey Uso. Jimmy moves to Raw after WrestleMania, and his first appearance on the Red Brand occurs after Gunther attacks Jey to continue their feud. Jimmy wants revenge on Gunther and challenges him to a street fight for the title at Backlash. Gunther accepts as he has no issue in handing another Uso a defeat at a PLE. Jimmy takes the fight to Gunther as he tries to get some payback on the Ring General, whilst also attempting to become World Heavyweight Champion. Despite his efforts, Gunther wins and retains the title. The Usos reunite at Money in the Bank in a tag team match against the World Heavyweight Champion himself and his closest ally in Ludwig Kaiser. Despite Gunther's recent success over the Usos, when in tag team competition there are few teams that can defeat the twin brothers. The Usos pick up the win in tag team action, giving Jey that much needed momentum as he continues his hunt for the world title. Jimmy accompanies Jey to another world title match, this time at SummerSlam. Gunther ensures a WrestleMania repeat, saying Jey's like that old dog that you feel sorry for, you see it limping around the yard in its old age, and that someone needs to just put it out of its misery. He promises to not only retain the title, but also to put Jey down once and for all. Despite his intentions, Gunther ultimately drops the title in a huge victory for Jey as he becomes World Heavyweight Champion for the first time. On the same night, the other half of Imperium has a better evening as Ludwig Kaiser somehow pulls off a victory over Penta and Braun Breaker in a triple threat match to win the Intercontinental title. After SummerSlam, Jimmy sets his sights on becoming IC champion, and he earns the right to be #1 contender and battles Kaiser at Clash in Paris late in August. Jimmy gives it everything he's got, but Kaiser wins after Ilya Dragunov returns to the WWE and joins with Kaiser to form what we later learn is the New Imperium. Dealing with the New Imperium, the Usos ask someone who knows Gunther well to fight with them at War Games. Sami Zayn becomes Sami Uso once again as he reunites with the twins in a 3 vs 3 War Games match. Despite the reunion of Zayn and the Usos, the New Imperium are just too dominant now that they have Ilya in their ranks as they defeat their opponents at War Games. At Saturday night's main event in December, Kaiser defends the IC title against the Celtic Warrior Sheamus. Jimmy gets some sweet payback on Kaiser, distracting him during his title defense, allowing Sheamus to hit a brogue kick, winning his first ever Intercontinental Championship in a huge moment for the Celtic Warrior. In 2026, Jimmy is still looking to become IC champion, but diverting from his goal for one night, he enters the Royal Rumble match at number 15. Jimmy is hopeful to repeat what his brother did at last year's Rumble, however he is eliminated by Drew McIntyre. After the Rumble, Sheamus drops the IC title to Jimmy's brother in Solo Sikoa on an episode of Raw in February. A triple threat #1 contenders match is held on Raw between Sheamus, Ludwig Kaiser and Jimmy Uso. Jimmy ultimately wins the match, pinning Sheamus to become the #1 contender. Sheamus is angry after the match and looks like he will attack him, but he shakes his hand instead, showing his respect for Jimmy. The Intercontinental Champion Solo Sikoa is only flanked these days by Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa after Jacob Fatu moved on from the bloodline following a dispute with Solo Sikoa. Jacob, now a babyface, is working his way towards the WWE title. Jimmy, however, will face his brother Solo at WrestleMania 42 for the IC title. Late in the match, Jimmy hits a spear and connects with an Uso splash on Solo as he captures the IC title for the first time at WrestleMania. Following Mania, Jimmy along with his brother Jay feud with Solo and his bloodline heading into the summer. Solo challenges Jay for the World Heavyweight title at Backlash, but Jay retains the gold. Jimmy defends the IC title against Tama Tonga on Raw, but he also retains. However, at SummerSlam, a year to the date since Jay defeated Gunther for the world title, Solo Sikoa defeats Jay, albeit through an interference from his bloodline, to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Later in the year, Jay gets his rematch with Solo at Bad Blood, but unfortunately for Jay, Solo retains. Moving on from the world title scene, Jimmy and Jay reunite in the tag team division and have a confrontation with old enemies in the current world tag team champions, The New Day. Despite this reignited feud with Kofi and Woods, Jimmy defends his IC title against Tama Tonga at Survivor Series, but unfortunately he drops the title to Tama after The New Day interfere, costing him the title. In 2027, Jimmy and Jay are back together as a tag team full time, and they have retribution on their minds. Jimmy and Jay earn the right to battle the New Day at the Royal Rumble for the World Tag Team titles, but the New Day cheat to win and retain the titles. At Wrestlemania, the Usos and the New Day finally square off on the grandest stage in a memorable tag team war for the titles. In the end, the Usos solidify their status as the best tag team in the world, defeating the New Day for the tag team titles at WrestleMania 43. The Usos faced new challengers throughout the summer, defeating the likes of Pretty Deadly and Legado del Fantasma during those months. However, they do lose a non-title match against DIY after a miscommunication, which earns DIY a title shot. The New Day say they are also deserving of a rematch after their loss at WrestleMania, and with the three teams involved in the title picture, GM Adam Pearce books a triple threat TLC match at SummerSlam between the Usos, the New Day, and DIY. Ultimately, the Usos retain the tag team titles, but unfortunately Jimmy takes a nasty crash landing just as Jay grabs the titles and is put out of action for the foreseeable with what could be a career-threatening injury. Following SummerSlam, Adam Pearce says Jay does not have to relinquish the tag team titles if he can find a tag team partner to fill in for Jimmy. Tama Tonga and Tongaloa emerge as the next challengers at the Payback PLE, and to combat the Tongans, Jay forms an unlikely alliance with a member of his family in which he's had issues with in the past, and that is Jacob Fatu. Fatu and Jay unite to successfully retain the tag team titles at Payback and continue on their tag team title run for the remainder of the year. But in the new year, a rather displeased twin brother returns as he feels that he has been replaced. In 2028, Jimmy returns and wastes no time getting in the face of Jacob Fatu. Jimmy does not trust Jacob one bit, and ultimately he and Jacob engage in a brawl. At Backlash, Adam Pearce books Jimmy and Jacob to go head to head in a singles contest in the hope that they can straighten things out, and he adds Jay as the special guest referee. Ultimately, Jimmy puts up a great fight, but Jacob lands his moonsault as Jay reluctantly counts to 3. By counting to 3, Jimmy believes Jay has turned on him. Jimmy says screw the bloodline, he doesn't need it, and from this point forward he is not blood, he is simply bloodthirsty. The era of bloodthirsty Jimmy Uso begins, a cold and callous version of Jimmy determined to do whatever it takes to get what he feels he deserves. Jimmy asks the question, what has been in the bloodline ever done for him? He supported an ungrateful tribal chief, a self-absorbed final boss, a weasel special counsel, and 2 backstabbing brothers. Jimmy's father Rikishi shows up and tries to talk some sense into Jimmy, but he shockingly slaps him before landing a spear in a brutal assault on his own father. Jimmy goes up for an Uso splash, but Jay saves his dad as Jimmy retreats. The following week, Jay confronts his brother, but Jimmy attacks him, resulting in Jay sustaining bruised ribs. Jay and Jimmy make up for their lackluster WrestleMania 40 clash as the two go head to head in a street fight at SummerSlam. Jay tries to power through despite his bruised ribs, but Jimmy ultimately defeats him at SummerSlam as Jimmy hits him with his new finisher, the Shining Wizard, renamed as the Bloodshot. Following his win at SummerSlam, Jimmy moves to SmackDown after Adam Pearce says that he does not want him on the Raw brand. On SmackDown, bloodthirsty Jimmy Uso says respect means more than blood. Just because someone is blood, it doesn't mean they won't stab you in the back, but respect, that's when people are loyal to you. He starts his own group called NKM, also known as the No Kin Mafia. Denouncing his ties to blood, bloodthirsty Jimmy Uso begins to recruit for his No Kin Mafia. Jimmy introduces 2 former stars who need a new path upon their 3rd run in the company, and that is Akam and Razar. Jimmy says Akam and Razar were discarded and overlooked for many years. In the first half of 2029, Jimmy aims to guide Akam and Razor to Tag Team Gold, which they do achieve as they win the WWE Tag Team titles at WrestleMania 45. At Money in the Bank in July, Bron Breakker defends his WWE title against the mighty Oba Femi. It's the clash of the titans as Bron and Oba, two stars of their generation, go at it for the gold. Ultimately, Bron wins the match with a spear to settle the debate on who is the best. Following Money in the Bank, looking to expand the No-Kin Mafia, Jimmy approaches Oba Femi and says Bron didn't win the match because he is better than you, he won it because he is second generation. He's the golden boy, whilst you've had to fight for everything that you've earned. You are the real deal, and you could be the most dominant champion in WWE history. Over the next few weeks, there are hints that Oba may finally turn heel, but nothing seems to happen. Oba earns another title shot at SummerSlam, but Lexis King is added to the mix to make it a triple threat, resulting in Jimmy saying nepotism is in play once again. Another second generation star in Lexis King has been handed your opportunity. Oba Femi, the champion Bron Breakker, and Lexis King go to war in a triple threat match for the WWE Championship. Oba has the match won after planting Bron with a fall from grace, but Lexis throws him out of the ring. Lexis covers the champion, but Bron kicks out and then proceeds to hit a brutal spear to retain the title. After the match, Oba and Bron face off in the ring. Surprisingly, they shake hands, but Oba snaps as he hits a fall from grace on Bron, finally cementing his heel turn. On SmackDown, Oba joins the No-Kin Mafia as Jimmy hands him an official vest. At this point, Jimmy is not really an active wrestler, he is more of a mouthpiece and manager of the current tag team champions in Akam and Razor and the Beast Oba Femi. He's in Oba's corner as he dominates the SmackDown roster for most of the remaining months of 2029. Finally, Oba gets his shot for the undisputed WWE Championship at Hell in a Cell, where Oba would defeat Bron to win his first undisputed WWE Championship. In 2030, in the aftermath of the Royal Rumble, Jimmy tries his best to hide from Bron Breakker after invading the Rumble and eliminating him despite not being a participant. He does quite well to hide, but that is until Jimmy is a guest on R-Truth's exclusive series, hosted only on WWE's YouTube channel, and that is Archives with R-Truth, where the running gag is that Truth associates classic WWE props with the wrong superstars. For example, referring to Triple H's throne as Tommaso Ciampa's. Jimmy is reluctantly a guest on the show, and the two are scheduled to meet with Hall of Famer Goldberg at the WWE Archives to look at some of his memorabilia, but you should never trust R-Truth to organise an interview, as it turns out he contacted Bron Breakker, not Goldberg. Jimmy runs for his life as Bron chases him around the archives until Jimmy is ultimately stood at the end of the SmackDown fist with nowhere to go. Bron corners Jimmy, and with nowhere left to run or hide, Bron chucks Jimmy off the SmackDown fist to his demise. After winning the Elimination Chamber and becoming #1 contender, Bron goes straight to war with Oba at WrestleMania 46. It's a straight up fight with both powerhouses clashing for the title, but after a lengthy war, Bron lands an emphatic spear and ensures double tap with one more devastating spear as he defeats Oba to win back the undisputed WWE Championship at WrestleMania. Following WrestleMania, Jimmy returns from his catastrophic fall to find out that Oba Femi lost the WWE title, but it's okay as the No-Kin Mafia move to Raw in the draft, and they're here to take opportunities, take gold, and simply to take what's rightfully theirs. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.